Hey, this is Michael from the one band called the Tauttenbaum, a whole bunch of other stuff before. Check out the Nursery podcast on Ohio Creative. Yeah.
I notice things and they make me laugh, and then I usually store them in the back of my head somewhere, and then they end up on the stage.
I think that there was a point in time where rap was pretty much non-existent in Ohio.
I actually grew up listening to pop music.
It's the coolest thing in the entire universe.
I love Ohio. I miss it.
Stomach started growling, and he started slowing the way he was walking and taking smaller strides, and you could tell something was definitely not right.
All my stuff has literary elements to it.
We've gotten to such a phase where people can just say they're an artist.
Wading through a sea of drunks, trying to do the best he can for the band.
Being in a room full of all your best friends, even if you don't know anybody, because you can sing and dance together and just have a really good time.
If you don't know, you don't need to know, man.
Would you like to do a podcast?
Like Gary or the Cuyahoga River.
You're always going to make it into something, don't you? Can't just hang out.
People complain that there's nothing to do here, but there is. You just have to go look for it.
The nursery and all of the trees cross over the dark, and some old parking lots hold my whimpering thoughts, and I'm on the next train. You and me, can't you see what this means? In the light of a torch, realize nothing is forced. Nothing is forced. The nursery and all of the trees cross over the dark, and some old parking lots hold my whimpering thoughts, and I'm on the next train. You and me, can't you see what this means? In the light of a torch, realize nothing is forced, nothing is forced, nothing is forced, nothing is forced.
This is Emma Tauttenbaum from Political Subversities, and you're listening to Nursery, a podcast from Ohio's creative voice. So I was on a children's theater tour all over the country, and one of our stops was Lexington, Kentucky, and I looked it up, and that counts as the Midwest. It could also be the South, but I'm going to count it for the purposes of telling you this story. So in this children's theater tour, one of the cool things, I hate children, but one of the amazing things about this opportunity was getting to see the whole country. And when we performed in Boston, the kids just could not be bothered. They didn't care about our show, and it was very obvious that they had been to Broadway, and it didn't matter. But when we got to Lexington, Kentucky, there was a kid throwing a rock against a wall repeatedly for fun. I watched to make sure that was actually what was happening, and he really was just throwing a rock, picking it up, and throwing it again at a wall, and there was nothing going on. And we couldn't load our set in because the theater was too small and had never had a set that big, so we could only use half of our set and had to keep some of it in the truck. So the kids filed in, and they just lost their shit. They loved the show. They were so excited. And it was just so thrilling to be performing for an audience of kids who were not spoiled and really cared about our little theater piece. And that is my little Midwest story for you. So yeah, Boston kids, kind of spoiled. That's it. Go Lexington, Kentucky.
Shop up in northern Vermont where the days don't run, they just plod along. He spends each one working in a haze, humming sad songs, and in the back on the rack there's an old guitar with a few good strings. And he stays and he plays until it's dark, and he always sings. I don't write sad songs, they just seem to find me. I've been standing still and I feel a little restless now. Here for years and now I feel that there's no way out. Holding on to something that just holds me down. And I don't know, no I don't know, I don't know if this is me. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at the bar, trying to feel less hollow, but he skips the booze for the back hallway and the old piano when it's 2 a.m. and the barroom's all spilled out. It's just him and the owner, and the man says, Aaron, why the sad ones now? And Aaron shrugs his shoulders. I don't like sad songs, they just seem to write me. I've been standing still and I feel a little restless now. Here for years and now I feel that there's no way out. Holding on to something that just holds me down. And I don't know, no I don't know, I don't know if this is me. Well, they say life's a little sweeter for the struggle is. I can't seem to care what they say. Life's a little sweeter for the struggle is. I can't seem to care what they say. I've been standing still and I feel a little restless now. Here for years and now I feel that there's no way out. Holding on to something that just holds me down. Holding on to something that just holds me down. Well, I'm done holding on to something that just holds me down. 'Cause I don't know, no I don't know, I don't know if this is me.
Hey, my name is JD Eicher, and I'm part of the band JD Eicher the Goodnights, and Ohio is home to me. I travel a lot with the band, and kind of the running joke at shows and around with people is that, you know, the Midwest is where everybody's nice, and I think it's really true, and I'm really tied to this place primarily because of the people, friends, family, and just the general community out this way. And you know, no matter how beautiful the weather is down south, or, you know, how exciting a big city like New York City or LA or something like that might be, it's this place that feels comfortable and right to me. So that's Ohio for me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nursery, a podcast from Ohio's creative voice. The podcast, first and foremost, serves as a platform to keep you in touch with the endeavors of the band Third Class at thirdclass.net and the inappropriate comedy troupe Bullskit Productions at bullskit.com, two websites where you can find the non-sequential backlog of Nursery episodes. In addition, Nursery Podcast finds the host, me, Lee Boyle, exploring the personalities of Ohio through associated music, poetry, comedy, and most importantly, conversation. If you happen to have an interest in what goes on in the nooks and crannies of artistic Ohio, especially in the Northeast area, Nursery is for you. But you don't have to be from there to enjoy it. Listen and delve into a rotating cast of Ohioans and beyond who give you their take on art, culture, jokes, spirituality, childhood, and much more. Inspired by the ramblings of the Smodcast Network, Nursery is about demeanor, mood, atmosphere, and off-the-cuff talk. Therefore, in the spirit of spontaneity, Nursery will always remain, much like Third Class or Bullskit, sloppy, homemade, and candid. We are building a small scene in Ohio, and we hope you'll join us. Nursery's content is not appropriate for listeners who are younger than 18 years. Listen responsibly. It gets weird. Nursery is sponsored by the Orange Avocado. Check them out on Facebook, and sponsored by the Speaking of Music show at YouTube. Would you like to sponsor an episode of Nursery? It's cheap, it's good promotion to a sweet demographic, and it's as many episodes or as few as your little heart desires. Email us at clograve@gmail.com gmail.com, CHLOEGRAVE@gmail.com, with the subject line sponsorship, and we will give you the hookup. Thanks for listening. We hope you're having as much fun as we are.
Please tell me this is more than a dream, and I won't be torn apart at the seam when I wake up and find out you're not here. Are you an angel killing some time in this fucked up life of mine? And if you are, won't you say you stay forever? With just a rose and a mason jar, reminding me that you're not home. And oh, I know just where you are. It's killing me lately, all alone.
Hi everybody, Lee Boyle from Nursery. I was just laughing because I thought of this. So I went on a tour in 2015. My last day was in a small record shop called Dan's Downtown Records in Indiana. And I was on my way out of the store. It was a pretty cool show, not bad for like a little store. And I looked over and I saw this little single for you kids. There was a thing called a cassette tape, and it used to even be promoted in such a way that there was only 2 songs on a very thinly spooled, if I'm using the right terminology, cassette tape. Natalie Merchant, Wonder, single. I used to play the heck out of that thing when I was younger for some reason. I just keep playing that one song. I don't know why I didn't buy Tiger Lily when I was younger, the full album, Natalie Merchant, but I didn't. I just played Wonder all the time. To this day, probably like a lot of her quote fans, not a hardcore fan, I've basically heard a lot of singles by her. I like her a lot, and I did get into some Butte tracks, but what I remember is Wonder. I saw the thing on my way out. I said, whoa, you have Natalie Merchant single of Wonder? Like as if that was a collector's item. And he said, yeah, you can just take it for playing. And I was like, thanks, man. I took it home, played it. Did not sound great, but I like looking at the thing, and it cost me nothing. So if you ever come upon anything like that in your life, something that you thought you lost and it's back again, maybe it was the exact same single I had when I was a kid, who knows? Grab it up.
I'm not surprised when I hear the tragic cries. I'm not surprised when I see the bright side. I'm not surprised when I see the bright side. Covered with slime. There was a time when
My name is Lee Boyle.
I'm Steve Boyle.
And we're here with my brother Jack and Greg Allison, and we're here actually showing a Bullskit. Our comedy troupe Bullskit Productions is being shown before a movie Gremlins at this place called Youngstown Cinema on M Gallery. This is Aspasia.
Hi.
She's the one that's...
Oh, I thought you were talking on the phone or something. Hi.
She's the one in charge of this, Mom. Thanks for calling, Mom. No, I'm just kidding. So we're having a good time. So if anybody doesn't know about it, in the future they'll have other events. So make sure you go to youngstowncinema.com. Mom. Okay, Mom. Go to youngstowncinema.com. I will come. Yeah, we'll come. Steve will. Here, Steve. What are you gonna do for her? Come download it.
Oh yeah, I'll download it for you.
Steve will come to your house and download it for you, Mom. And then when you do watch the events, and they'll have a movie every month. It's gonna be awesome.
Side of your line, I don't think I even wanna try. Every weekend like a religion will be just fine. I'll never not appreciate this life I've been alive in. I'll never not appreciate this life I've been alive in.
This is Jack signing off. I mean Jerry signing off for CBS News because a man was riding on the road and he slammed into a house. And this is Jerry signing off. This morning, this morning, a man driving crazy and he's drunk and he ran into a house. Signing off, Jerry. Yeah. Right.
I need a little yellow dandelion. Will you find me one? It's a tiny one. I got a flower too. You got a flower too. It's a long flower. What about over here? What other kinds of dinosaurs do you like? What about the flying one? It's so That's why they're called fluffy flowers.
They're called floppy flowers because they flop back and forth. Okay.
Hi there, this is Zoe Nightingale, and you're listening to Nursery, a podcast from Ohio's Creative Voice.
What actually happens when we hear sounds? We know that the membrane of the inner ear changes sound waves into audible sensations. But until recently, no one had seen the whole inner ear in action. When sound waves strike the membrane, it makes thousands of microscopic movements per second. Only by computer could they be calculated and for the first time pictorially described. It takes several minutes of this motion to draw the simple sound of yes. Since the model of the inner ear is being expressed mathematically, it can be pictured in different ways. In this 3D version, the membrane is given a spiral shape, recoiling as it receives shocks from simulated sound waves.
Guys, thanks so much for listening to Nursery. I just wanted to tell you a few of the people you heard in this episode. The music came from JD Eicher and the Goodnights, Juche, Doggo K, The Zoo, Bitter Alms, and of course my band Third Class. Thank you to all those artists. And then I want to say the monologues, aside from my own, there was a monologue from Emma Tauttenbaum Fine. TV watchers might know her as the woman, the very enthusiastic woman in one of the Daily Burn commercials on Hulu. But she does so much more than that. She's part of something she mentioned, Political Subversities, and she does a lot of comedy and just has some good acting chops and is very, very funny. So make sure you check her out. And then there was an actual monologue from JD Eicher from that previously mentioned band, JD Eicher and the Goodnights. He talks about Ohio. So thank you to those two people who did the monologues. Then there was a couple really tiny little moments at the very top of the episode. Somebody named Michael did a station ID for Nursery. He's in a band called the Automatons. Check them out. There's this little tiny excerpt of my friend Erin playing the clarinet. Thanks, Erin, for that. That was from a live show she did with my band Third Class. And then lastly, near the end of the episode, aside from those childhood recordings, which actually were me, my two brothers Jack and Steve, and my cousin Jerry Remish, there was a station ID from Zoe Nightingale. Her podcast by the same name, Zoe Nightingale, that's ZOE and then Nightingale, is a good podcast that was featured on Love and Radio at one point, and she is working hard to try to get stuff going at a Patreon and other websites. She has, I think it's Dr. Z Nightingale on Instagram, and a couple other things you can find her if you basically just Google Zoe Nightingale. She's great. So, just go show some support. She's really trying to make like a living out of her podcast. So I would appreciate it if you checked out all the people I mentioned. Okay, thanks for listening, and keep in touch. And, there's a lot of episodes on thirdclass.net and bullskit.com. So, those are backlog episodes. A lot of times what you'll see on the iTunes and SoundCloud feed, there's only a couple episodes there, but the backlog is permanently on those couple sites I mentioned. So go back and catch up, and we're looking forward to future episodes. All right, I'll see you.